My name is Julian Silverto. I'm the managing
I think we're gonna take.
Uthe uTumi amasingo to you about
Yeah, yeah.
so ngizomalana fancy ngilisha ngizothi makhosi
Mina ngithi uthi
yeah uthi uTumi no tell the people to come inside ngoba bayeza khona manje it's okay
uyamazi maneshi. Okay, then it's fine because this is your mic and yeah. So, oh, I trust you. Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please rise? Can we please rise to welcome the ministry and her entourage? Thank you.
You guys are so beautiful. I can't recognize some of you. I think we need to have gala dinners all the time. Okay, it looks like we are going to wait for a couple of minutes because they went via the bathroom. I was wondering why they're not coming in because they were just going, walking behind us. Maybe you can have a seat. We'll rise again when they come in. Apologies, colleagues. Undigadele bona. Okay, we can all then rise, please, as the deputy ministers are walking in. I'll cue you, don't worry. Shall we remain standing then for the rendition of the national anthem? Then it will be followed by the playing of the African Union anthem right at the back. Then I'm going to ask Ndibuo to come and help us to recite the preamble of the Constitution. Now the African Union anthem. Dibo, if you can come forward and help us recite the preamble of the Constitution. He is the mayoral candidate of the Student Council of City of Johannesburg.
Please repeat after me. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic, as to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life of all citizens and free the potential of each other, and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. May God protect our people. Nkosi sigaleli Africa. Morena buluke setjhaba sa heso. God seën South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimo fatuchedza Africa. Hosi katekisa Africa.
You may be seated. Thank you very much. Good evening to the deputy ministers, our partners, members from business, members from our social partners in basic education, teachers. I saw SGB associations. They've joined us. He's a friend of mine, and I'm laughing because I can't believe he's really sitting here. Thank you very much. I think the essence of tonight's event is embedded in that preamble of the Constitution. I had prepared to do some kind of an introductory remark to remind us as to why we're here. But I realized that actually that preamble has laid that foundation. I don't need to do anything further to that. But I really just want to thank you for making the time to join us. I know that South Africa is playing at this time, and we will hear when Deputy Minister Litsike comes to the podium how South Africa is doing. We don't care sitting here. We care about menstruators. She cares about those who are in the field. So she'll tell us how we're doing there. I hope we're winning. Also, I want to say that you really, really look good. But I can't stop looking on that side where there's Zandile Msutwana and there's Titimba. And Titi, when he walked in, says to me, "Ungisukele," because you said, I must look good. Because I just didn't want him to come here with his Brazilian colors because he likes wearing that Brazilian soccer jersey of his. So I said, "Titi, you must look good." But I didn't mean that Titi must look, the other side of good. And Zandile Msutwana's dress, you need to pick it up and you need other people to help you, you know? So I'm like, I should not have asked them to dress up. But thank you so much for ukusihlonipha. Without further ado then, let us receive technical inputs that will help us understand why we're here. We've got Ms. Tiamara Andrew, who comes from Blessing Lives, who's going to give us a technical input on young women and girls leading their own menstrual health and sanitary dignity agenda. Can we have the video, please?
We're doing it for people out there. It's all about like servicing, serving, and all of that, doing the good for other people, you know. And again, this is a good cause.
Here today to break the silence. We are currently on the highway and we are breaking the silence by stopping and blocking all our vehicles. We have stopped the highway to support young girls in need and to raise bigger awareness for period poverty. So how about you and how about you join our change? Because we are breaking the silence.
And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take on my people windy. Together we are going to a brand new home.
Okay, I want everyone to look around you, to see the faces of those who have come together today to drive change, to make a difference in the lives of girls who face challenges that many of us can't imagine. Good evening, Deputy Minister, distinguished guests, business partners, stakeholders, community leaders, and everyone gathered here tonight. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and to share a cause that is incredibly close to my heart. Watching that video just now for me was emotional because it reminded me of how far this journey has come. It reminded me that what started as a simple desire to help others has grown into a movement that is changing lives one girl at a time. Growing up, I was fortunate enough to be involved in charity work from a very young age. Through our family-founded non-profit organization, Blessing Lives, I was exposed to the realities faced by many underprivileged communities across South Africa. I met families who struggled to put food on the table, children who lacked basic necessities, and young people whose circumstances were limiting opportunities that they deserved. Founded in 2016, Blessing Lives was created with a simple mission, and that was to uplift underprivileged communities through sustainable support, advocacy, and meaningful action. Through our essentials drives, we have distributed thousands of items, including clothing, shoes, food parcels, and other necessities to vulnerable families. But over the years, one issue continued to stand out for me, and that was period poverty. I was devastated when I learned that so many young girls miss school simply because they cannot afford sanitary products. Imagine being excited to go to school, eager to learn, to build your future, only to stay at home because of something as natural as your menstrual cycle. Imagine feeling embarrassed, isolated, or ashamed because you do not have access to something that many of us take for granted. The more I learned about the issue of period poverty, the more I realized that this simply wasn't just a health issue. This is an education and dignity issue as well. And I knew we had to do something about it. I've always believed in combining my passion with my mission. And as someone who loves the automotive industry, I wanted to use the power of the automotive community to create meaningful change and awareness. Through our event company, Idol Auto Expo, we realized that events have the power to do more than entertain. They can unite people behind a cause. From that platform, our sanitary pad drive was born. That is when I started one of Blessing Lives' initiatives called Drive to Unite. Drive to Unite is a movement that brings together the automotive community, businesses, government, schools, and ordinary South Africans around one common goal, and that is to end period poverty and restore dignity to many young women and girls. The vision behind Drive to Unite is to host a vehicle run where 100 of vehicle and bike owners donate sanitary pads and participate in a convoy that travels on the main highway around Johannesburg to Monte Cassino. While the convoy itself is an incredible sight, its purpose goes far beyond the vehicles. At Monte Cassino, we welcome learners from quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools who are most affected by the challenges of period poverty. Throughout the day, we host an educational and inspirational program designed specifically for these young women and girls. We invite motivational speakers to encourage and empower the learners. We also have healthcare professionals, including a gynecologist who provides education on menstruation, menstrual health, and hygiene. At the heart of Drive to Unite is that the belief that providing sanitary pads alone is not enough. We must also provide education, support, confidence, but mainly hope. So in 2023, at just 15 years of age, we hosted our first Drive to Unite initiative. We had 125 vehicles together from Ferndale on Republic to Monte Cassino. Looking back now, it was a relatively small event. We only occupied the Piazza area at Monte Cassino, and at the time I had no idea what it would become. But what I did know was that there was a need that was bigger than me, and a need that was bigger than Blessing Lives, a need that required all of us to stand together. That first year, we collected and donated 11,450 sanitary pads and reached 1,920 beneficiaries. For some people, these are just numbers, but for me, these are names, faces, dreams, and futures of young women and girls. They are girls who were able to return to school, and the response we received was overwhelming. People wanted to make a difference. So in 2024, we returned with an even bigger vision. At just 17 years of age, we expanded into the entire Monte Cassino events area and welcomed more than 200 vehicles to the convoy. What inspired me most was seeing complete strangers unite around one common goal. That year together, we donated 27,500 sanitary pads and supported 4,583 learners. The movement was growing, and so was the awareness. Then came 2025, a year that exceeded every expectation that I had. By then, Drive to Unite had become much more than just an event. It became a platform for advocacy, for awareness, and meaningful action. Our message has always been simple, and that is to break the silence. Because silence is what often allows problems to continue. Silence allows girls to suffer alone, and silence allows the stigma to survive. In 2025, together with 250 vehicles, we created a powerful moment of solidarity by shutting down the national highway. For a brief moment, hundreds of people stood united to send one message across, that no girl should ever have to suffer in silence. No girl should ever have to miss school because of something as natural as menstruation. That year, we had over 3,000 spectators, which resulted in us donating 34,230 sanitary pads and reaching 9,513 beneficiaries. Since the beginning of this journey, we have donated more than 73,000 packs of sanitary pads and supported over 16,000 young women and girls across South Africa. But tonight, I do not want us to focus on these numbers, because behind every number is a story of resilience, courage, and a story of a young girl trying to build a better future for herself. For me, leadership is not about titles, leadership is not about age. Leadership is about recognizing a problem and being part of the solution. When I started this journey at only 15 years of age, I did not have all the answers. I did not know how many people would support this cause. and I did not know whether it would succeed. But what I did have was hope. Hope that together we could build a future where every girl has access to products that she needs, the education she deserves, and the dignity that is her right. Today I stand before you at 18 years of age, and that hope is stronger than ever. Every year I'm reminded that when people unite behind a common purpose, extraordinary things happen. All of this would not be possible without individuals, organizations, and businesses who have supported us throughout our whole journey. I'd like to thank the Department of Education, the JMPD, Dr. McMinn, every individual that has stood alongside us against this fight in period poverty, including every sponsor, every volunteer, and every supporter. You have helped turn an idea into impact. You have helped turn awareness into action. And you have helped restore dignity to thousands of young women and girls across South Africa. Currently, Blessing Lives is a registered MPO, and we are able to issue Section 18A certificates for qualifying donations. For companies, this initiative may also support their socio-economic development commitments, as our program directly benefits disadvantaged communities. But most importantly, this is not just about compliance or ticking a box. This is about dignity, education, and making sure that no girl is held back because she does not have access to basic menstrual hygiene products. But our work is not finished. There are still girls who need our help. There are still communities that need our support, and there are still voices waiting to be heard. Our aim is to touch every province in South Africa and eventually make this a worldwide initiative. So tonight I ask each and every one of you to join us, because this is all of our responsibilities. If a 15-year-old girl could look at a problem and decide to act, imagine what is possible when an entire nation acts together. Because together we can break the silence, and together we can ensure that every young woman and girl has confidence, support, and the resources she needs in order to reach her full potential. So tonight I leave you all with this. One sanitary pad may seem small, but to a girl who needs it, it's everything. Be the reason a girl stays in school tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chamara. You did that at age 15. I don't know how at age 15 you're able to get drivers of Maseratis and Lamborghinis to follow you around. Who I want that before I die? Maserati, Lamborghini, Z what, you name them. Yeah, thank you so much. He is the face of a men's sector contribution to the work that we do, and I love him to bits because he always makes himself available. He's now going to be giving us an input on purpose-driven and community-facing social impact interventions led by men. Many years ago, this content would be dealt with by women and girls. And today in South Africa, we see men coming in the middle of the room. Titimba.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dumelang, Sanbonani. Good evening, deputy ministers, all the government officials, all the business people, and all the guests, protocol observed. My name is Tatomba, popularly known as Titimba, and I'm the founder and chairman of the biggest men's wellness network in Africa. We have such an engaging platform in terms of our social and digital presence. We are looking after the wellness of men. The institution is called the Amatime Brotherhood Circle. We focus on 3 pillars of wellness when it comes to men. We focus on their physical wellness, their ability to take care of themselves, their bodies. Do they exercise? Do they eat well? Do they look after themselves? Because at the end of the day, you are of no use to the world if you can't look after yourself as a man. We also look after their mental wellness, appreciating the fact that men carry a lot and they go through anxiety and depression, things that we were formerly told were a white problem. We see men committing suicide 4 times more than they do when it comes to women, because men don't have safe platforms to be able to engage and talk about their challenges. So the Amatama Men Cave is a safe space for men to really talk about what affects them. Whatever happens in the men cave stays in the men cave. We then focus on the third pillar of wellness, which is financial wellness. We know that money separates a lot of us as men, and we are defined by how much we are able to bring. And so we then focus on the relationship between fathers and sons. And with that, we've even created a platform on SABC2, a TV show titled Like Timer Like Ndwana that I co-host with my dad. And we get to have conversations with fathers and sons, uncles and nephews, the father figure and the boy child. We want to bridge the gap and that vacuum between the boy child and the man. A lot of us as men have been raised by very strict fathers, unapproachable fathers. So we're trying to kill all of that by making sure that the relationship between the man and the boy child is a healthy one. We are trying to promote healthy masculinity. And so with this movement, we are also focusing on the relationship between fathers and daughters. I'm a girl child dad myself. And every Monday morning, I have this video that we shoot with my daughters called the Mba Commitment Mondays, where we do a selfie video. It's about 3 minutes long, and we commit to something for that week. Simple things, committing to being kind, committing to becoming a better person. And then we encourage our followers to also follow suit in committing to just something. We are living in a world where we are hustling, but we forget to be kind. So sometimes just committing to be kind and smiling at the next person can make a world of difference. And through these conversations, we had one of the most uncomfortable conversations about periods and menstruation. And so today I decided I'm going to introduce you to a book that I wrote with my daughters. The first dad and daughter menstrual book in the world. This book was as a result of the conversations that I was having with my daughters, and that's what we are trying to do. We want men to get involved in the conversation when it comes to periods and menstruation. We are actually quite aggressive in terms of educating men about menstruation. And so we ask all men that are part of our movement to support this book, because this book is really about a 13-year-old girl called Palesa. Palesa then goes through her journey of periods and gets to meet my daughters, Dumi and TJ. And so they introduce her to the PMS diary, which is not only a story about Palesa's journey of menstruation, but there's also what we call the Your Turn page, where the reader gets to also journal her thoughts, her feelings about her menstrual journey. And so we encourage girls to have this book as their companion, because menstruation can become a lonely journey to that girl child in the villages, to that girl child who doesn't have the privilege of social media or access to the media platforms that are out there. And so with this, we are able to really be the change that we want to see in the world and allow the girl child to be comfortable, to be confident in her own skin. And what we're saying to her is that there's no shame in having periods. But it starts with having those conversations with men. Let the fathers be part of the conversation. We were raised by parents who told us that when a girl child goes through periods, they must run to the mother or the grandmother or the aunt. And we're saying, not in our name as men who are progressive. We need to have those conversations with the girl child so that when she goes through periods, she can run to the dad without feeling any shame. There is no shame in periods. And I just want to read the dedication that we've put into this book, and would obviously encourage a lot of the corporates to help us as they do their menstrual drives at schools to partner with us in actually spreading the word and making sure that this book gets to as many girls as possible so that they can have that companion. As a father to daughters, I know how confusing and overwhelming puberty can feel. I've watched my own daughters grow, laugh, stumble, and rise again. This diary is our love letter to you. So no girl ever feels embarrassed, lost, or alone. May these pages remind you that you are growing into power. May you never doubt that your body is beautiful, your voice matters, and your story is important. And the dedication for my daughters is as follows. We wanted to share our giggles, worries, and courage with you. Writing alongside Palesa felt like writing to every girl who wonders, am I normal? Am I strong enough? The answer is yes. You are normal, you are strong, you are never alone. Together, We hope this diary feels like a friend that laughs with you, listens to you, and reminds you that periods don't stop girls. They empower us. And with this book, we are going to change the lives of every girl child, one girl child at a time in South Africa. And we ask you to join us in helping us making sure that every girl child has got access to this book and they're able to journal their journey of periods without shame. I thank you.
All right, so yes, when we're talking about menstruation, we understand that menstruation is a very personal thing. Other people use pads, other people use tampons, other people use rewashable pads, rewashable panties, you name it. There's all sorts of things. And there's a friend of ours whom we went to Parliament with the other time. And when we went there, Deputy Minister Litseke, you were not there, she told Parliament basically that we need not make the assumption that there is a one-size-fits-all solution for girls when it comes to menstrual products. And so Parliament looked at her like, okay, what do you mean? Because we all know that every woman needs a pad. And then she said that there's a menstrual cup. And I looked around the room and I realized that there are so many people who didn't understand what a menstrual cup is and how it works. But she has been spearheading the whole narrative and conversation in government about making sure that we take this work now a step further to ensure that we open up the access for girls to other solutions that may work for them. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Ruth Apostolov from She Power.
Ginikela gonko kwami tata gonke enginakho ngoba wena cheers wazigonke gami oh hallelujah ke hallelujah do me seni bongani jalo ungu Jehova wopilayo guna pagate.
She is looking for a video clip before she speaks. True to form, Tiamara started this thing. Now everyone wants to play a video before they speak. You call Maseratis, we want them. Video, we want them. I don't know what else.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Uvela blow hi everyone. Ningabi no heal. Kutheni no heal. Ningabi no tikoloshe nina apha. Chi. Kanibancedeni bethunana, all hands on deck. Niyayazi, I don't want trucks that stop along the way.
Hi everyone, my name is Bonita Fu. I am 17 years old.
That's not the one. Ikhona nje voice kaThikoloshe echoyo but andiyiva ba ithini. No, they will find it, Ruth, don't worry. Khawubucula ke Sibu, and then they will indicate to us when they've found it.
Hallelujah, do me seni bongani jalo yenungu Jehova wopilayo guna pagate. Everybody can join me. Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah. Do me seni bongani jalo yenungu Jehova ophilayo kunaphakade. Ameni, hallelujah, yebo. Dumiseni, mongani, jalo, Jehova ophilayo kunaphakade. Ngiwabonile amandla akho aphule jogwe nezibopho. Ngiwabonile amandla akho aphule jogwe nepomputhe ziyabona khulula uqobo manje. Oh, khulula, 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 Baba khulula, khulula, uqobo manje. Oh Baba siyabonga, siyabonga, siyabonga Baba, siyabonga, siyabonga ngothando. Oh Baba siyabonga, 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 siyabonga ngothando. Oh, ngoba wena wanikela, wena wanikela, 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 ngelotana yakho.
Guys, do you want me to go to Premier FMCG and then I'll come back to Ruth again? Please get it right and then Sizobon Kutsanzanjan. Sorry about that, Ruth. We'll come back to you. Anyway, this is what happens, okay? They always tell me because they know that I freak out when these things happen. Utapelo will tell me that these things will go wrong at some point. So yeah, when they go wrong, I just don't understand because when I only write submissions, nothing can go wrong with a submission in government. I write policy, nothing can go wrong with policy. You write it, you go, you consult, you approve it. Then cabinet sticks to its guns about that policy until we review it. So yeah, okay. So when Tapelo introduced me to them, Deputy Minister, Premier FMCG, I walked out of that room saying, who are these people? And I don't think that they understand what we want to do as government. And I think a couple of weeks later, and fast forward a year later, close to 2 years now, I think they are the one partner that understands what government wants. So I take it back and I confess Premier FMCG, but let's hear from Corinne, adopt a community model for business, a case study that happened in Lesotho. Over to you, sis. Guys, can you sort us out here as well? Remember, we've moved on. So, I know it's fine. It's okay. Yenzani kaloku le nto mayishowe up le. Is it? Izawusebenza, guys.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Good evening, Deputy Ministers, distinguished guests, and business members and communities. I'm so grateful to be here on behalf of Lillette's and Premier. My name is Karen Fraser, and I am the Senior Brand Manager on Lillette's. As Liko mentioned, we started this partnership a while ago, but just to introduce you to who Premier FMCG is, we are truly entrenched within South Africa, having both the Millbake business as well as our grocery business, and I'm sure you'll see some of your favorite brands on the screen currently. So as our brand portfolio, we are a diverse mix of marketing leading consumer brands with over 52 brands, and we do some private label offerings too. We export to over 31 brands to 40 countries within Africa. And then a little bit on who Lillette's is. We were launched in 1954. We have over 70 years experience in sanitary protection and what women need, because we are designed by women for women. We are the brand that fits you better, both your body and your lifestyle, and we offer women choices in their formats, from tampons, pads, liners, to reusable options too. We are also a brand that listens to our consumers. We have a Lillette's Talk platform, and through this platform, based on any life stage that you have, you can go on there and ask any questions, and we then have our experts answer the questions that you have on menstrual hygiene. We are also locally made within South Africa, in Durban, with a majority female workforce. But there is an issue. There's a lack of adequate information and access to products in menstrual hygiene. And there's a reality for many teens that start their menstruation journey. 42% of them feel they weren't prepared or informed before their first period. 51% were not comfortable speaking about their period or asking for help. And 71% said mom was their primary source of information, but only 43% of them feel comfortable talking to mom. And 48% said school was one of their main sources of information. So how do we unpack this problem? In many South African households, discussions are often shrouded in silence, and this leads to misinformation and stigma. And intentionally and unintentionally, teachers, family members, parents perpetrate those feelings of shame, secrecy, and awkwardness around periods. Within South Africa, there's a significant issues, with many girls lacking access to sanitary products, and this has led to absenteeism and social stigma. With the partnership with the DBE, we aim to rewrite the story by working together to explore how we can better educate and empower young girls. Our aim is to help to shape a future where periods don't hold anyone back. So how are we aiming to address this? Our approach is to teach teachers, parents, and teens on this topic, ensuring that each and every one of them have access to this information, that parents are able to have open and honest conversations with their teens, for teachers to be able to ensure that there is access to period products at school, and for teens to have the correct information so they can make informed choices about their bodies.
How do we do this with Lilette and the DBE? We are hosting educational talks from grade 4 to 12 because they can start as young as grade 2 or 3. We want to provide age-appropriate menstrual hygiene education that reduces stigma and encourages open conversations. We want to provide products to these students, equipping them with essential menstrual hygiene products. And then we have something that's a card game. And this is really to break the ice and to show them how to be educated on menstrual hygiene in a way that is fun and educational. And so we generally leave this at the school so that allo teachers can play this with the kids in those classes. And then as Lilette, we also educate the teens through product choice, teaching them the difference between this and how they can then make decisions, and then through breaking stigmas. And then, as I mentioned, we have digital support tools such as Lilette's Talk, and then something called Find Your Flow Quiz, where you're then able to input information about your body, and then it will inform you on what you can then decide would work best for your body. And then this year, we are currently working with the DBE to reach over 100 schools in Gauteng and 80 schools in the Eastern Cape, which will ensure that we reach over 72,000 girls, both educating them and ensuring that they have product distribution. But we want to extend this reach. What we're currently doing is not enough, and so we need to solve this problem based off something that Premier is currently doing within Lesotho. So despite everything that we are doing, there's still inconsistent and inadequate supply of sanitary towels. There's lack of education and uncoordinated donor initiatives. There's also a limited inclusion of both the private sector and community participation. And this contributes to that high absenteeism. So a successful program operating in Lesotho, we have this initiative that's created to address this pressing challenge. It was founded in 2015 under the Queen's National Trust Fund. It's reached over 90,000 girls in 91 schools, and it's been sustained through business partnerships. So we want to replicate this model in South Africa to ensure consistent distribution of product and education. So the specific objectives is 1 year supply of sanitary towels, integrating menstrual hygiene education into wellness programs, mobilizing corporate social responsibility partners, enabling individual public donations, and establishing a provincial coordination and monitoring framework. So how this program is designed is that we'll then assist with annual provision of these sanitary towels to quintile 1 to 3 schools. It will be distributed through verified service providers, for example, ourselves, Premier Foods. The schools will serve as distribution points. Then we'll have menstrual education. We will integrate menstrual education within school wellness programs, peer educated models, workshops for boys, parents, and teachers to dismantle the stigma. And then sustainable resourcing through CSR and citizen engagement. And this is where all of you will come in. So the launch of Adopt a School and Adopt a Girl campaign, where corporates commit to sponsoring full-year supplies, corporate partners will brand their donations and participate in their school engagements, and an annual dignity impact report to acknowledge the sponsors and track our progress. And then there's the addition of the public donation via mobile networks, where you can partner with major mobile networks within South Africa, and a chosen donation amount can be made via this system. The equivalent value will then be done within sanitary towels, and then the mobile partners will assist with campaign promotions across media platforms. So we will get awareness on this initiative and be able to ensure that anybody within South Africa can commit to this cause. So what makes this program successful? Distribution currently is done monthly. This will be an annual supply. Education is limited or once-off. We want to provide comprehensive menstrual education. Funding is reliant on public funds. This is something that the communities in South Africa can get involved in. Community involvement is currently minimal, so we're trying to enable every citizen to participate. Sustainability is short-term. We want to ensure consistent monitoring, and then focusing on product delivery and impact metrics. So how can you get involved? After hearing all of this, I hope that you would want to adopt a girl or adopt a school and pledge towards this initiative. Thank you so much.
Nyanchaza, because we are recovering all the lost time. That's good. Then briefly back in that is 7 minutes, not 15, 7 minutes. So we're moving. Is Ruth's stuff still? Okay, no problem. Let's move then to another partner that I thought didn't understand us. I was like, hey, these ones, They remind me of the olden days of Soul City. I don't think this is a survivor. When I walked out of that room, I was like, hey, guys, I don't think this is a survivor. We need to look for another partner. A year later, we are here and we're eating their food tonight. Dr. Nombuso Madonsela, Country Program Director from AIDS Healthcare Foundation. She's gonna come here with Palisa Tsotetsi so that they can also offer their message of support and their testimony for the work that we're doing with AIDS Healthcare Foundation.
I'm going to be try to be short. Program Director, Deputy Ministers, representatives of government departments, distinguished business leaders, representatives of the civil society and development partners, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all. Let me just start with who is AHF. We are a global organization founded in 1987 in Los Angeles, and we currently are in 50 countries worldwide and 15 within Africa. We have a long-standing, and I think like Liko said, he thought we are a fly-by-night. We are here to stay. We are not PEPFAR funded and we are sustainable. We have a long-standing commitment in addressing the intersection of HIV and sexual reproductive health because we understand how these two collide. And with a strong focus on youth engagement, HIV prevention, and menstrual health education, we believe that menstrual health is not only a public health education issue, but also a dignity and gender. And one of our girls, who is a product of our Girls Act, where we really work with our young girls to provide that interventions that our previous speaker was speaking about, to ensure that we also prevent HIV and we also capacitate our young girls. But just coming today, I just want to say it is an honor to stand before you today in support of this partnership with regards to the businesses. And I really applaud the previous speaker, and I hope the businesses have taken note of what has been started in Lesotho. I commend the leadership of the Department of Education for its visionary leadership in convening this high-level engagement, for recognizing and ensuring menstrual dignity for every girl. It's not merely a health issue, nor education, it is really a human dignity, equality, and social justice issue. We gather here because we understand a simple but powerful truth. No girl should have to choose between her education and her biology. This is biology. It will happen whether we want it or not. And no girl should be made to choose. For far too many girls, menstruation remains a barrier to learning. Lack of access to sanitary products, inadequate menstrual health education, stigma, and poverty contribute to absenteeism, reduced academic performance. In some instances, some girls have even dropped out. Now we are in a generation where we want to empower our young girls. For them to be dropping out or missing classes because of sanitary pads is really an injustice for us. As we read the Constitution, I hope we all internalize what it means, because as we sit here, we are here to make sure that we comply with what the Constitution has guided. The Sanitary Dignitary Program has also demonstrated what is possible when government places the needs of girls at the center of policy and action. Yet, despite the progress made, funding gaps continue to hinder the universal reach of this critical intervention. It is therefore both timely and necessary that we bring business on board and I really hope that business is listening. Social investors and development partners into this conversation, not as spectators. I repeat, you are not here to spectate, but to commit. But as active partners in building a future where menstrual and health products are accessible to every learner who needs them. The recommendation emerging from the Joint Portfolio Committees on Basic Education and Higher Education, together with women, youth, and persons with disabilities, reflect a national consensus that menstrual health and sanitary dignity are an essential investment in our nation's future. This is not charity. This is an investment in education, an investment in gender equality, an investment in health, an investment in economic development. Because when girls remain in school, they are more likely to complete their education, participate meaningfully in the economy, delay early pregnancies, and contribute positive to their families and communities. The return on investment is immeasurable. So today I call upon the private sector to see this initiative as an opportunity to create lasting social impact. Corporate social investment programs have long contributed to improving educational outcomes, but menstrual health deserves a more deliberate and a sustained commitment from all of us. Imagine the power of a dedicated supplementary fund that guarantees uninterrupted access to menstrual products in schools across our country. Imagine a generation of girls who never miss a day of school because of menstruation. Imagine schools where menstruation is discussed openly, respectfully, and without shame. This vision is within our reach if we all act collectively. As partners, we must all remember that sanitary dignity extends beyond the provision of the product. It includes menstrual health education, access to clean water, sanitation facilities, and also psychosocial support. And I think Titimba really spoke to say we need to really dismantle the harmful stigma and misconceptions surrounding menstruation. And I'm very happy that he is bringing the men on board. A comprehensive approach is essential. So the private sector has resources, government has policy and implementation structures, civil society has community reach and advocacy experience. I think together we have the power to ensure that menstrual dignity becomes a lived reality in our lifetime for every girl in South Africa. So let this gala dinner today be the beginning of a renewed social impact, one in which no learner is left behind because she cannot afford sanitary products. Let us leave this gathering and not only with commitments, but with measurable actions and sustainable partnership. And let history record that when confronted with this challenge, we all sat today on the day when Bafana Bafana is playing with Mexico and hopefully winning. When confronted with this challenge, government, business, and society stood together and chose dignity, equality, and opportunity. I want to just say that as AHF, we are committed to work with Department of Education and the partners as we support menstrual health, hygiene, education, and sanitary packs in our schools. And I hope that today we will all come out here with a renewed commitment to supporting sanitary and providing sanitary pads for our young girls. Thank you.
Greetings to Deputy Ministers, partners, stakeholders, and esteemed guests. Before I introduce myself, I think I should clear up one thing. After hearing about the book by Lisa, some of you might think tonight's program is dedicated entirely to me. Unfortunately, I am not the famous Balesa from the book, but I am a Balesa with a story to tell. My name is Balesa Tsoteti, and I am the Deputy President from Girls Act under the program called AHF. We are situated in Gauteng in the semi-rural areas. As a former president of my school and the former president of the Sidibeng East District, I have had the privilege to engage with young people from different schools and communities. Through these leadership years, I have witnessed the challenges and many girls face when it comes to menstrual health and dignity. I have listened to girls who worry about missing school because they do not have the means to buy sanitary pads. I have heard stories of learners who struggle with inadequate sanitation facilities and limited access to clean water. These experiences have shown me that while progress has been made, there is still much work to be done. That is why I stand here before you today, not only as a Girls Act member, but as a representative of young girls whose voice, experiences, and hopes deserve to be heard. I stand here presenting my findings on what we have collected on the menstrual health event held in Gauteng. The challenges that the learners say they face, the young girls that they say they face, my peers that are just 18 years old, they say that they face challenges of not having a clean water in schools, the inadequate sanitation, lacking of menstrual health, and some says that they face the challenges of not having consistent access to pads. As a young girl from a semi-rural area, I have seen these challenges affect the young girls' confidence. I have seen these challenges affect their attendance in schools. And it is really very hard to participate in school when you know that you do not have enough means to buy a pad, or when you go to the ladies' room, you're not comfortable. As a Girls Aid program, we have hosted menstrual health awareness, raising awareness, breaking the stigma, and rendering pads to our girls every month. And even on our events, we have rendered pads to girls, but that is not enough. Their efforts have made a difference, but they are not enough. To address the scale of the challenges, that is why we need sustainability. We need solutions that will still help us from now to 10 years to come. Access to menstrual product, but we also not sure about toilets, clean water, hygiene, and education. There is an African proverb that says, "It takes a village to raise a child." The Department of Education and the partners cannot do it all alone. That is why we call on business sectors, leaders, partners to join us on building sustainability solutions for menstrual health and dignity. We request funding for menstrual health programs, improved sanitations, support disadvantaged learners, educate learners more about menstrual health, because it is really unfair to go to a community where only girls should go to their teachers and ask teachers questions. But we say that let everyone be educated. Let even boys know about there's a thing called girl going on their menses every month, and they should not be ashamed of that. A period should not be a barrier to education. Together, let us ensure that every girl can learn and lead and dream without any limitations. When we invest in girls, we invest in the future of South Africa. With all that being said, I thank you.
My name is Reginah Mhaule, the
Applause bethuna. Boys zami zihlanganisa ivideo ezikhala kahle. Yayibona boss, now you can see it. But thank you so much. We're just trying to build and we're documenting the work that you do, Deputy Minister Litsike, because there is a sense in Parliament that we're not doing anything as government. And I think that we've got enough documentation now, digital documentation, these videos and everything, that when we go there, we go together. We'll show them all of these things, including what we're documenting here tonight, so that they can see that we're really, really doing something about it. Can I just find out, is Ruth's thing now ready? Because I think, Ruth, you can just divorce your video and just really just speak. There is something called divorce in this world. And I've come to learn that you say in court, we've got irreparable differences. And because of that, we're opting for a divorce. Is it ready? They say they've got it. Yeah, that's what they said to me too. I bet na sanomphoxa kaloku Ruth bethuna. Dayithini into ka Ruth? Eh? Oh, guys. Hi, Ruthie, yeah. Hi.
Well, they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to... We still don't get the technical stuff right. But anyway, good evening, deputy ministers, senior government officials, representatives from business, civil society, leaders, educators, fellow advocates, and distinguished guests. Whenever you guys are ready, you can still continue. Today is historic because we are witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in menstrual dignity in South Africa. We have moved from activism to action, from asking for choice to implementing choice, from speaking about dignity to delivering dignity. And while history may record this as a policy milestone, those of us that have lived this journey know too well that it was far more than that. It was a battle of ideas, a battle against stigmas, a battle against resistance to change. And yes, if you'll pardon the pun, a rather bloody battle at times. And as the new kid on the block manufacturing menstrual cup, I quickly learned that innovation in menstrual health does not arrive to applause. It arrives to scrutiny, it arrives to resistance, and it arrives to difficult conversations. For 4 years, we have advocated for a simple principle, that no single product can meet the needs of every menstruator, and the right to allow menstrual products to evolve. Equity is achieved when everyone has the opportunity to choose what works best for them. Because for centuries, menstruation has existed in silence. It has shaped education, health, participation in society, and economic opportunity. Yet it has remained largely invisible in policy discussions, boardrooms, and budget allocations. Throughout history, women have innovated, led nations, built communities, raised family, and transformed economies while menstruating every single month. Yet the needs associated with menstruation were often treated as an afterthought, something not important enough to warrant in investment. For generations, decisions about public budgets, public priorities, and public investments were largely made by systems and gatekeepers who never got to experience menstruations themselves. Roads were budgeted for, buildings were budgeted for, entire industries were built and funded. But the simple reality that half the population menstruate every month was rarely considered worthy of meaningful investment. Today, we are changing that narrative, and this is why this moment matters. South Africa's sanitary dignity framework has always recognized the importance of product choice. The policy framework has long made provision for a range of menstrual products. Yet, despite the policy, the lived reality for millions of learners in quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools have been very different. For many years, the disposable sanitary pad had been the default option. And while that intervention was important, necessary, and life-changing for many girls, it was never the same as having a choice. Because choice means having options. Choice means being informed. Choice means recognizing that no two menstruators are the same. What works for one girl may not work for the other. What is affordable for one household may not be suitable for another. What is practical for one community may not be practical for another community. So the question you might ask tonight is, whether product choice is important. It's not whether product choice is important. The question is, why did it take us so long? Part of the answer lies in safety standards. And therefore, we have launched #MyVaginaHasStandards. Part lies in procurement systems. Part lies in the understandable caution of government when introducing new products into public programs, and rightly so. When products are distributed to millions of learners, safety cannot be compromised. As we expand access and choice, we must ensure that every product distributed is safe, reliable, quality assured, and fit for purpose. Today we are speaking about 5 product options that can support menstrual dignity. We're talking about disposable sanitary pads, tampons, reusable washable pads, reusable washable period underwear, and menstrual cups. Importantly, SABS has developed standards for almost all of these product categories, with standards for the sanitary underwear currently in progress and is through the development process. List of all compliant manufacturers that meet all regulatory standards are available from the Department of Women, Youth, and People with Disabilities. This is important because product choice should never come at the expense of safety. And this is where business community has an important role to play. Many corporates are investing in menstrual health initiatives, and they're absolutely entitled to ask questions. They're entitled to understand where products are manufactured. They're entitled to understand what testings have been conducted. They're entitled to understand quality standards and compliance processes, because meaningful investments should always be informed investments. When corporates conduct proper due diligence, they protect their brands, strengthen public trust, and most importantly, ensure that the girls and women they seek to support receive products that genuinely uphold their dignity. Now, when a girl misses school because of her period, this is not simply a menstrual issue, it's an educational issue. When families cannot afford period products, it's an economic issue. And when school must manage growing volumes of menstrual waste while facing water and sanitation challenges, it's an environmental issue. And that is why product mix matters. Not because one product is better than another, but because different products solve different challenges. The objective is not to promote one product over another. The objective is to ensure that learners have access to safe products and are empowered with the information needed to make product decisions. 5 product choices, 5 pathways to dignity. And perhaps this is the most important point I wish to leave with you tonight. Product choice is not about replacing one product with another. It's about empowering the user. The goal should never be to convince every girl to use one product. The goal is informed choice. The right product is the product that works for the girl child. The one she understands, the one she feels comfortable using, and the one that fits her lifestyle, environment, and personal circumstances. Because dignity is not found in the product. Dignity is found in the choice. And the conversation becomes more relevant when you consider the realities facing our school. Across South Africa, we are facing increasing water and increasing pressure on water infrastructure, sanitation system, and waste management services. Many schools struggle with inadequate sanitation facilities. Many communities are experiencing recurring water shortages, and schools continue to manage growing volumes of menstrual waste every month. A modern menstrual health program must therefore be flexible enough to respond to these realities. Not every school has the same infrastructure, not every community has the same environmental challenge, and not every learner has the same need. And that is why this is what product choice offers. It offers a portfolio of solutions. And if we truly care about education, then we must recognize what is at stake. And here's what's at stake. Every girl remains in class is an investment in South Africa's future. Every lesson attended is an investment. Every exam written is an investment. Every matric certificate earned is an investment. Every graduate entering the workforce is an investment. And every future entrepreneur, teacher, engineer, doctor, scientist, and leader begins as a girl sitting in a classroom. And when that girl succeeds, the impact extends far beyond her. An educated girl becomes an empowered woman. An empowered woman is more likely to earn an income, support her family, and invest in the education of her children. She helps break generational cycles of poverty. She creates opportunities that has not existed. So the benefit ripples onwards from a girl to the family, from the family to the community, from the community to the nation. And what economists call, and this is what economists call a return on human capital investment. But for many of us in this room, it is much simpler than that. It's the return on believing in a girl before the world does. It's the return on ensuring that something as natural as a period never becomes a barrier to a potential. And that is why period poverty has never been about pads, and it has never been about any single product. It has never been about a product alone. It has always been about opportunity. So tonight I would like to challenge the business community gathered here. Do not see menstrual health as a corporate social investment project. I want you to see it as a human capital investment. Because when we keep a girl in school, we strengthen our future workforce. When we protect her dignity, we strengthen our economy. And when we expand her choices, we expand her opportunities. And when we invest in menstrual health, we invest in South Africa itself. Ladies and gentlemen, today, product choice is officially a reality. Tomorrow, our responsibility is to ensure every learner has access not only to one product, but to information, safety, dignity, and genuine choice. History will not remember us for the products we distributed. History will remember us for the opportunities we created. And the question future generation will ask is simple. When we finally recognize that dignity requires choice, how did we act? And for every win and every stride, I want to give glory to the Lord, because the fight for the voice, the dignity, and the future of our girl children is not a natural fight. It is a battle against silence, inequality, and systems that were never designed with her in mind. and yet by His grace, we continue to rise, to advocate, and to break barriers until every girl knows her voice, owns her voice, and walks confidently in her purpose. Our work is not done. To God be the glory. And if we could just play that movie clip as we were meant to. This is the clip that was played in Parliament, and I think it will bring home a lot of what was said. Yes, thank you.
Almost every aspect of daily life. We carry supercomputers in our pockets and map the human genome. But when it comes to basic menstrual care, the timeline of innovation has flatlined. To understand the scale of this stagnation, we need to look at a single decade in a young woman's life, specifically the 10 years from age 12 to age 22. This chart shows the required menstrual management supplies over that span. A girl relying on standard disposable pads or tampons requires 3,360 individual items to manage her period through primary school, high school, and university. 3,360 disposables. That volume creates a compounding toll of recurring monthly costs, immense landfill waste, and forced absences from school when those expensive products run out. The financial math alone is punishing. Purchasing disposables month after month acts as a steady, unavoidable tax on young women and their families. Then there is the physical footprint. Those 3,000 items are packed with plastics, bleach, and synthetic fibers. They are used once, then discarded, funneling a lifetime of non-biodegradable waste directly into landfills and oceans. But the steepest penalty is educational. When a family cannot afford this recurring expense, girls are forced to stay home. They fall behind in class, stripped of their ability to participate in their own learning. Period poverty functions as a 10-year roadblock. It turns a natural biological process into a systemic barrier to basic equality. The mathematical solution to this thousands to one problem is the She Power menstrual cup. One cup provides safe, reliable period management for up to 10 years, entirely replacing those 3,000 disposables. The cup is a soft, flexible vessel made from medical-grade silicone. The key engineering difference lies in how it interacts with the body. Traditional pads and tampons are designed to absorb fluid. This cup is designed to collect it. Shifting from absorption to collection eliminates the need for a constant supply chain of disposable cotton and plastic, creating a low-maintenance, infinitely reusable system. This anatomical diagram shows how the cup functions. It is inserted into the vaginal canal, sitting comfortably below the cervix to catch blood. Because it collects rather than absorbs, it does not draw out natural moisture, preventing dryness and keeping vaginal pH perfectly balanced. The medical-grade silicone is biocompatible. Biocompatible means the material is perfectly compatible with the body's living cells, tissues, and systems without causing any harm or toxic reaction. Over 5 months of rigorous testing at a GLP, or Good Laboratory Practice, certified facility, the cups were proven to cause zero cytotoxicity, skin sensitization, or irritation. It holds status as a Class II medical device and is manufactured under ISO 9001 and ISO 13485 standards. It is also the first South African menstrual cup manufacturer to be fully SAHPRA licensed. This is a scientifically validated, strictly regulated medical device engineered to work safely and seamlessly with human biology. In practice, the cup offers up to 12 hours of continuous leak-free protection. And because the material is non-porous, it requires only half a glass of water to clean thoroughly. Environmentally, it replaces thousands of discarded plastics with a single zero-waste item, making it a highly eco-conscious choice that keeps decades of waste out of landfills. Financially, it transforms a relentless monthly expense into a single upfront purchase that pays dividends for 10 years. But the most immediate impact is physical empowerment. It restores the freedom to swim, run, and move comfortably without the fear of leaks or the bulk of heavy pads. When you combine the health, environmental, and
Okay.
financial benefits, the heavy post-
Thank you very much. I think we've gone a bit over time, but I think it's important for me to say this. It's important for me to say that the reason why we are exposing young girls to this is because they need to understand that there is choice. That's number one. Number two, I think Ruth was very clear in her delivery. She said, menstrual cup is not here to replace any other product. It is to say that there is a vast choice of products, that when we are going to talk to young girls about menstrual health and sanitary dignity, they need to understand that they are not boxed. There is so much choice. We know that majority of them at the moment, they are using sanitary pads, but we also know that there are those pockets of them that have got a problem because they don't know that they've got a choice of any other thing. And so we, as government, we've got a responsibility to ensure that that choice is open. So I want it to be very clear here as we are exploring all of these things. I also want it to be very clear to you as business partners that are here, that you are not going to now going to meet somebody who's going to say to you, I can get these pads for you for cheap. When there are brands like the ones that were presented here, like Lilet's, that have been standardized, that have been regulated. There are many, many others. So you're not going to meet people from the street who can give it to you for R1 instead of R7 and you take that, because safety is important. I think if that is the message that you all take away with us about the question and the item about product mix and product choice, then we'd have done our bit. But please just make sure that you are safe. You don't meet people in the streets. They offer you an alternative. You take it because it's cheaper. It allows you as a business partner to cover many people with a very small amount of money. Standards, quality are still very important, but choice is also very important. Okay, so we've almost now come to the end of the program. We're going to be hearing from the two deputy ministers. Let us first hear from our deputy minister from the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Ms. Steve Letsike. She's also going to give us the score of the match.
Certainly, Program Director, South Africa has drew 1-1. Not only do we care about what happens in the field, we are in the field joining a very important conversation. So let me thank you, Liko, for the work that you do, and also as our Program Director, Deputy Minister of Basic Education, Dr. Mhaule, former Deputy Minister, Mayor Candice Mashego Dlamini, representatives of government, officials, business community. I'm glad, Deputy Minister, that you've brought us here. This is some kind of reunion of some sort with friends in the sector who are doing incredible work really around ending period poverty. The partners of civil society and international organizations, development partners, UNICEF, as part of the UN family, young women and girls leading the menstrual health agenda. We've heard from the incredible two young women that are doing incredible work. Let's give them a round of applause. We are proud of you that you are leading the charge as young women, and we want to say that continue, don't stop. This is about your agency, and this is about making sure that no girl is left behind. So please, we appreciate your work. Distinguished guests, we gathered during Youth Month in a year in which South Africa commemorates 50 years since the Soweto uprising and celebrate the 30 years of our Constitution. These milestones invite us to reflect not merely on how far we have just traveled, but on whether the freedoms of which young people fought has become visible in everyday lives of the present generation. For Elena, who must miss school because she cannot afford menstrual products, freedom remains incomplete. For a young person who manages menstruation in a school without safe water, private toilets, or appropriate disposal facility, dignity remains conditional. For a family forced to choose between food, transport, and menstrual products, equality remains something promised in law but denied by poverty. And this is why menstrual health and sanitary dignity cannot be treated as a small welfare concern or a private matter that belongs behind closed doors. It is an education issue, it's a health issue, it's an economic issue, it's a gender equality issue, and fundamentally, it's a human rights issue. It is also a matter for the boardrooms. Corporate South Africa understands the importance of infrastructure. You know that no economy can grow without energy, roads, technology, skills, and functioning institutions. Tonight, I want to place a broader proposition before you. Dignity is a social infrastructure. When Elena can attend school confidently throughout the month, concentrate without fear, participate in sport, and walk into a classroom without anxiety about leakages, shame, or ridicule, we are not merely giving her a product. We are protecting her education, confidence, bodily autonomy, and future economic participation, as we've heard from all the speakers. Period poverty is therefore not simply a shortage of sanitary products. The mixed options of products are a very important part of it. It is where we address the outcome of inequality. It is created where poverty meets gender, where inadequate sanitation meets silence, and where the biological reality of menstruation meets social stigma. Our constitution is a very important document that understands that exclusion is rarely experienced in many ways. A rural learner may face limited access to products and water. A learner with a disability may encounter inaccessible toilets or require assistance without being guaranteed privacy. A homeless young person may have no safe place in which to manage menstruation. A transgender or a non-binary person who menstruates may experience stigma that makes it difficult to seek support. So a credible sanitary dignity program must be capable of seeing all these realities. And this is why our country has thought about a World Sanitary Dignity product. As you heard, the implementation of our annual spending that goes to 253 million pays attention on learners in quintile 1, 2, 3, and special schools. And this resources is an investment. In the previous financial year, we spent and dedicated over 157 million, and now we've almost doubled that figure for this current financial year as government. But indeed, we understand the immediate need: partnership, collaboration, innovation, and where we see the business community and where we see the innovation by many of these companies. I must tell you, I don't know if Deputy Minister Reginah, in my previous life, I usually tell this to colleagues, before taking public office, this is possibly about 12 years ago, we're involved in producing the biodegradable products. And this was the only biodegradable pads called Nandi pads, taking care of the green and the waste and the energy, and take into consideration our environment. So it's quite important that when we think about producing sanitary products, we must also consider some of the social and environmental issues that we are dealing with. The charity that we see, the drives that we see, the donations that we see, responds to an immediate need, and that response is important. But a compact changes the system that repeatedly so produces the need. It moves us from occasional donation to reliable access, from goodwill to accountability, from isolated projects to national coordination. Indeed, South Africa is in the pathway where we will have free sanitary products for all young people, young women, but also the path that supports women's journey. We know very well, Dr. Mhaule, this is not a choice. At least for those of us who are women, we must know this. This is not a choice. We don't wake up and make a choice to menstruate or not. It happens naturally so. So that agency must be met with a response, and recognizing that the product choice is a part of dignity. The compact should also support local production. We should ask whether the products produced, purchased through corporate investment can be manufactured by women, youth, and persons with disability-owned enterprises. You will recall President Ramaphosa pronounced in 2020 that procurement policies must adopt approach. 40% of spending must go towards women-owned enterprises. 30% must reach enterprises that are led by young people. And 7% must reach enterprises that are led by persons with disability. So your businesses lies the question of transformation. We know these products are locally produced. Our economy at 1.2% will not grow itself if we are not intentional towards supporting women-owned, youth-led, and persons with disability enterprises. This will form part of creating jobs, strengthening partners, and building the economy, transforming supply chains, and building African produced and productivity capacity. So imagine that impact to fight against period poverty, also becoming a platform of which young women, the very same that we assume will just be beneficiaries, but they will enter into the world they can imagine that speaks about manufacturing, logistics, technology, research, and sustainable product development. That will be menstrual dignity joined to economic justice. So business must also look inwards, approach it in a way that builds a safer space in schools, as this initiative that we are leading on behalf of the 7th administration provides a period-friendly school space. But businesses must also adopt a period-friendly workplaces. Companies should examine their facilities, provide privacy, water and safe disposal, whether workplace wellness. As you've heard, the wellness doesn't only speak to women and young girls alone. Think about the boy child and the man. Include them into the menstrual health approaches. Men and boys must also be a part of this work. Menstruation is biological, but the shame surrounding it is socially produced. Fathers, brothers, teachers, uncles, colleagues, and executives can either reproduce silence or help dismantle it. And this is why universal sanitary dignity cannot be achieved if women perform for other women, but society watches from a distance. So we are part of this work to deal with the sexual reproductive health and rights. We are part of this work to turn the trajectory that we are dealing with. I want to say to the business world, also look out, because there's a growing phenomena that's happening worldwide. There's a rise of anti-gender, anti-rights, and anti-democratic movements. You cannot be silent, because these movements are seeking to turn around the health, sexuality, and bodily autonomy into instruments of fear, political division, and our response must be clear. We will not retreat from the principle that young people deserve knowledge, healthcare, dignity, and the power to make informed decisions about their lives. Indeed, government cannot achieve this alone. Business cannot solve it through sponsorship alone. Civil society cannot carry the responsibility without adequate resources. Young people cannot continue being consulted only after programs have been already designed. A whole of society means a co-creation. It means listening to young women and girls as leaders of their own menstrual health agenda. It means government coordinating policy and accountability, business bringing innovation and scale, communities challenging stigma, and civil society ensuring that the lived experience of people remain at the center. To young people in the room, I also want to say that sanitary dignity and democracy are not separate questions. And of course, because we've got adults, it's very important that we understand that. Budgets are political choices. The quality of our schools that Deputy Minister and the team at DBE, they are improving on a daily basis. And we really want to say thank you. Thank you for caring for the schools, and let's give them that round of applause. But for those young people and adults who have young people who are eligible to vote, I'm raising this with clarity. The ballot box is one of the places where citizens influences decisions. Those who will vote for the first time in the upcoming local government elections on the 4th November must recognize the significance of this right. The young people of 1976 did not squander, did not retreat. The young people of 2026 must never squander and must never retreat. Register to vote, study the choices, ask difficult questions, who's prepared to stand by you. Vote for the society you want to inhabit. Because democracy is not just an administrative act. It's a deliberate exercising of your own responsibility. So friends, the success of tonight will not be measured by the warmth of our applause. It will be measured by the commitments made, the resources mobilized, the schools reached, and the learners whose lives changes. Let every pledge represent a learner who remains in class. Let every partnership restore dignity. Let every investment affirm the biology must never become a barrier to education, confidence, or opportunity. Our task is therefore not only place menstrual products in school, is to dismantle silence, stigma, and shame that teaches young people that regard their own bodies as a source of embarrassment. Let us build a society in which every learner can enter the room, classroom, home with confidence, manage menstrual safely, and understand that her body must never become a barrier to her dreams. Minister Mhaule, on Monday I'm hosting the private sector engagement on ending teenage pregnancy. This is part of the agenda. Because for us to end teenage pregnancy, we must look at it as a whole sum. So together, let us transform consciousness into action, compassion into investment, and constitutional promise into lived reality that becomes dignity, equality, and freedom for all people in South Africa. Thank you for the opportunity.
Uchilo ke bethunana. Here is an individual pledge card that has been placed on your table. If you know that there is something that you can do towards this, you can, there are pens on the table, so don't say, there was no pen, I could not write. There are pens there. Here is a pledge card, there's a message for you at the back that explains what this pledge card is about. You can then pledge. My cousin who's running a media company, I called him. I spotted him, Deputy Minister, on social media. And they had this gathering with his friends, and then they said, hey, Mr. Bottoman, we thank you for the bar outside. And I'm thinking, Wambu Batali bars. When I'm here needing somebody to pay a bar for me, when you are paying bars for other people, I invited him. So he's already filled this in because he's in the business of billboards work, and he says that he can do things for us. So Singonzo, when we are ready, at least that billboard, it will be paid for by my family. You see, yeah. So you can complete it, colleagues, and then my colleagues will come around the tables to collect them. Mama D, please just make sure that you collect them. All right, then, the moment has come for us to receive a keynote address from our Deputy Minister, who is all sorts of things, and she is always available. I can take her to the most rural of places, and I can test if she's gonna make it. You know what? And she makes it. And she arrives early, and she makes me frustrated because she's always early. So please, Deputy Minister Reginah Mhaule.
Angi nako okwanele mina ngizomnika uqobo anginakho anginakho okwanele ngizomnika uqobo anginakho-ke anginakho okwanele ngizomnika uqobo ngizomnika uqobo lwami mina ngizomnika uqobo ngizomnika uqobo lwami ngizomnika uqobo.
Yeah, izinto zenzeka. When was it? Wait, when I stand up to preach, most of the time, those who know me, they play that song. Every day when I stand up, they say, oh, she loves this one. Ngizomnika uqobo lwami. Thank you. Did you whisper to them to say, if you want to, yeah. Program Director Liko, thank you very much. Deputy Minister, my sister, my child. Yeah, our sisters, but you are my child. You know that. My elder sister, former Deputy Minister of International Relations, Mayor Kenneth Mashego. distinguished representatives of business that are present today here in this evening, representative of the United Nations Children Fund and AIDS Healthcare Foundation, our partners from Premier, FMCG, and Lilets, colleagues from the Development Bank of Southern Africa, representative of the Baitudi Mampane Foundation, and Blessing Lives. Our media partners, especially Gala and Swane TV that are present today here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Sanbonan. I want to thank the media that is here because we know that whatever we're going to say is not going to end in these four corners of this room. They are going to take it outside, so we must tune in and tell people, say, hey, watch there. They are playing what was happening on the day of this gala dinner. So there's a story that I know which about a journey about how we arrived in this room tonight, because it matters. It's the story of a journey that began not in government offices, but in the hands of civil society. So at this point, I want to acknowledge our partner from I Menstruate and the entire team. In 2024, the Joint Portfolio Committee of Basic Education and of Higher Education and Training convened our departments to respond to a petition brought before the Parliament by civil society. That petition carried a simple but urgent demand, which was universal access to menstrual products for every learner in this country, regardless of where they live or what their families can afford. The Portfolio Committee instructed the Department of Basic Education to convene government departments to explore whether the public purse could be supplemented to close the gap between what is currently provided and what universal access actually requires. We did exactly that. Around World Menstrual Hygiene Day in 2025, 11 government departments gathered in one room, supported by the Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. We gathered to do the harder work of mapping the full scale of the problem. We found that the challenge facing menstruators in our schools is not a single problem with a single solution. It touches the attitude and involvement of men and boys. It touches product choice and product safety. It touches what our teachers know and are equipped to teach about sexuality, gender, and health. What we could not identify, ladies and gentlemen, was money beyond what is already distributed by the Department of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. 11 departments and not one ring-fenced budget line dedicated to menstrual products that could meet the scale of the need across our public schooling system. We did not hide from that finding. In 2026, we took it directly to Parliament twice. First to the Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities, and then to the colloquium of the joint portfolio committees convened by the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education and Training. We told Parliament the truth, that government alone cannot close this gap on the timeline that our learners deserve. Parliament gave us a clear resolution to convene again, but this time bring business into the room. And I think we're still going to convene again because we want more businesses to come into the space, because if girls miss school because of this challenge, it means when you look at the numbers in our registers in every school and when they write examinations, it tells that we have more girls than boys. And even in the stats SA, there are now more women than men. So I don't want to talk more about that because I'll open another. Yes, there are more women than men. Everywhere you go, there are more women than men. So we must reconsider polygamy. People shall share. Somebody said, I say this because I'm now old. I could not have said it when I was still young, but that's what I can say. It's a fact. There are more women than men. There are more girls in schools than boys. Every time, it's just like that. Stats cannot lie to us. Let me then be unambiguous about what this evening is and what is it not. This is not a call for donations to the Department of Basic Education. We are not asking business to write a check to government. What we are asking is something more durable and I believe more powerful. We are asking business to adopt menstrual health and sanitary dignity as a genuine area of corporate social responsibility, Dr. Ruth, and corporate social investment. But as you said, that to more investment on human capital and to direct that investment to where government's resources do not currently reach. I want to pause here and recognize that several partners have already chosen to walk this road with us. Well before tonight's invitation went out, the Development Bank of Southern Africa had stood with us as a development finance partner who understands that social infrastructure is a critical and as physical infrastructure. The Baitudi Mampane Foundation and Blessing Lives have shown that grassroots, community-rooted commitments to menstruators look like in practice. Premier FMCG through Lillet has been a consistent partner in product provision and public awareness. UNICEF has brought global expertise and unwavering focus on the rights of the child to this agenda. The AIDS Healthcare Foundation has reminded us time and again that menstrual health cannot be separated from broader sexual and reproductive health outcome for young people. As Gau and Tshwane TV has joined us as our social mobilization, advocacy, and communication partner, helping us carry this message beyond this hotel and into the homes and conversations of ordinary South Africans. To each of you, on behalf of the Department of Basic Education, want to thank you and say thank you even for responding to this invitation tonight and your collaboration with the department in its future, the young generation. You have not waited to be asked twice. It was not difficult to fill up this room. I can see that only few chairs are not occupied. Now to the business representatives who have chosen to be in this room tonight. I want you to understand that your presence here is in itself a form of leadership. You did not have to come. There was nothing that is forcing you to be here, but you chose to be here because you are concerned. You came because you understand, perhaps better than most, that a learner who cannot manage her menstrual health with dignity is a learner who is more likely to miss school, more likely to fall behind, and more likely to leave the system altogether. The numbers tell us this. The numbers, like I told you earlier on. I remember during our time we used newspapers and very dirty clothes that when that time has come, and it was a taboo, as I said on the script, to speak even to your mom about this thing. When you see it, even the family, they make you feel judged and feel guilty that you made it to happen to you. That's why they even chase you and say, hey, go, don't talk about this. They don't talk about this. I remember one young man in Pumalanga, he overheard his mother talking to his younger sister about that. When the sister said, Mom, I see blood here. Mama said, hey, get out of here. We don't talk about those things. Go hide. And he said, I asked myself, what then is this girl going to do? Then he started his own campaign of raising sanitary towels and deliver to school, because he said what he saw to his sister is happening to many other young girls in these areas. Let me also be candid about the complexity of this challenge, because period-friendly schools are not built on product donations alone. We must confront our wash infrastructure honestly. Adequate water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities are the foundation upon which any menstrual health intervention stands. Without clean water and private safe toilets, a box of sanitary products achieves very little. We must also bring men and boys into this conversation. I was happy when I hear young people speaking about this, that it's important to bring a boy child to understand this thing. Unlike in the past, where boys will laugh and ridicule you when you are in that state. We must also bring men and boys into this conversation as allies rather than bystanders, because dignity of menstruators is a whole school and whole community responsibility, not a private matter to be managed in silence and with shame. A male principal who normalizes this conversation in his school assembly, a father who buys sanitary products without embarrassment, a boy learner who does not mock a classmate for staining her uniform. These are not small gestures. They are the social scaffolding without which no amount of product donation will succeed. Business has a role here too, in how you shape the messaging and the public campaigns that accompany whatever program you choose to adopt. Do not design for girls alone. Design for the whole school community that surrounds and supports the girl. We must also take seriously that the SACMEC 5 study has told us that knowledge levels among both teachers and learners regarding HIV and broader sexuality and gender matters have declined since previous cycles of that study. The findings should concern everyone in this room, because it tells us something important. The infrastructure of knowledge is eroding, even as the infrastructure of need is growing. A learner who does not understand her own body cannot be expected to manage her menstrual health and in confidence and with confidence. A teacher who has not been adequately supported with current, accurate information cannot be expected to guide the girl. This is why the department continues to insist that any conversation about menstrual health and sanitary dignity must sit alongside and not separately from our broader comprehensive sexuality education and life skills curriculum work. Products without knowledge will not deliver dignity. Knowledge without products will not deliver dignity either. We need both delivered together and delivered consistently. And I want to address directly the recent University of Free State study that raised safety concerns about certain sanitary pads. I say this plainly. This finding is not a call to abandon sanitary towels. It's a wake-up call to manufacturers to strengthen self-regulation and guarantee the safety of every product that touches the body of our young girls and women. It's also, if I may put it in this way, a mother of hyperbole that we should use productively. A reminder that product mix and product choice matter because menstruation is not a uniform experience. It was said here. It's an individual matter. It is personal. What works safely and comfortably for one menstruator may not work for the other, and our programs must reflect that reality rather than flatten it. The road from a civil society petition in 2024 through 11 government departments who could find every challenge but not the budget to 2 parliamentary engagements in 2026 has brought us to this room with a clear and shared purpose. Business has put one foot towards by joining us tonight, by listening to this history, and by sitting at the table. I am asking you now to put the second foot towards forward, to put the second foot forward. And I want to be specific about what that looks like in practice. It does not require a national commitment from any single company. It requires a defined, manageable commitment, one cluster of schools, one circuit, one district, chosen deliberately from those areas that our existing government resources pool does not reach. It requires a willingness to work with our provincial and district officials who know precisely where the gaps are and who are ready to guide you to the right entry point. It requires patience to start small and to treat that first pocket of implementation as a genuine proof of concept, one from which we will learn, adjust, and then scale. And it requires a commitment to product safety and product choice as you design your contribution. As you design your contribution, so that what you bring to our learners is not only available, but appropriate, comfortable, and dignified. To every business representative here today, this evening, please do not let this be the last conversation. I'm begging you. Speak out, speak to our officials at the provincial level, district, circuit, before you leave, the officials that are here, and before you leave here, speak to the officials that are here today. And where you live, let's not all come to Gauteng. We have provinces that are very poor, and we have districts that nothing reaches those districts. So if you come to us, we'll tell you exactly where the gap is, than all of us showering one circuit with these products. It will not help us because there's this child there in a far remote area, rural area, whose parents are not even working, whose grandmother is buying food for everybody, and when that time comes, they don't know where to go to. So that's why I'm saying, talk to the officials. If you want to support in these other areas that you have never been to, come to us, we'll tell you, because we know where the challenge is. Make a call this week, or at least next week, or not next quarter, please. This week, next week, and not next year. Please, the Department of Basic Education stands ready to walk this road with you. We have provinces, as I indicated, we have our district offices, we have our circuit, we have our schools. So we must do that until every school menstruator in our schools in this country can attend schools with dignity. They deserve every single day of the month, and must remove the shame and allow them to grow their level of confidence, even if that time has come to them. Let us build together a period-friendly South Africa. May God bless you. Good night. Enjoy the dinner.
Izomnika uqobo lwami.
Because now she said that that's her song. Andithi phela mna ndifuna ingqesho. So I'm filling out my Z83 form already with that song there that you play there. So I'm moving with you everywhere she moves so that you play that song. Then she remembers that it was played by this boy. All right, colleagues, we've come to the end of our program. We are going to have food. Please eat because the people have paid for this food. You must eat. Lillet's, DBSA, and AIDS Healthcare Foundation have paid for the food and the drinks outside. And I saw there's even wine there. So if you are driving, please don't drink the wine. Just drink water like me. But if you've got a driver, then you can. Without further ado, then let's call Dr. Andile Dube. Is it you or is it Hannah? Oh, Hannah. Hannah, to please come and render a vote of thanks from UNICEF. United Nations.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hana Yoshimoto. I'm Chief Education from United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. I am extremely privileged to speak honorable current and former deputy ministers, distinguished guests, those from the business partners, the social organizations, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very privileged to speak at the closing of this extremely important event on menstrual health and hygiene, sanitary dignity, and extremely honored to speak in between your dinner on a cold Thursday evening. Or keep it short. I want to emphasize that UNICEF South Africa, we have been working extremely closely with Liko, Deputy Minister and the Minister of the Department on WASH in schools. Deputy Minister Reginah mentioned about the importance of WASH in schools, safe water, sanitary hygiene. All these are conducive learning environment that helps learners learn. A lot of the learners do go to school, over 90%, 96% in this country, but if you look at the data, the compulsory education is 9 years. But if you look at the actual learning, they are only learning that's equivalent to 5.6 years in South Africa, which means that they are going but not really learning. But why? If you look at the reasons, it could be related to the menstrual cycle. It could be related to the safety in schools. So United Nations Children's Fund, we have been working together on washing schools, developing national guidelines, contributing to the policy development, updating of it. We recently worked in teenage pregnancy guidelines, which I understand is becoming a regulation, which we are very happy and congratulate the DBE on it. So as a default, our counterpart is always the government as a UN. And I really want to thank the departments here today for coming together and especially emphasizing this role of the boys also. It is so important. And just as a reminder, in South Africa, there's about 30,000 learners, children, living under a child-headed household. If you look at the statistics, more than 60%, more than half, are actually boy-headed households. Imagine these boys needing to care for the younger sisters. They need to have that knowledge on sanitary and hygienic information. They need to be able to care. And I love that the government here today, they know they cannot work alone. They're coming together as cross-departmental collaboration, as well as the business, but also the fact that they are really looking at the menstrual cycle and sanitary dignity as not an individual coping mechanism, but a system accountability. And I really think that this collective effort mentality will trickle down to the actual workers on the ground. And as you mentioned, sorry, I forgot your Miss Tiamara, one pad does make a difference. All the ladies here, I'm sure once in your life, I'm sure you had this experience of having this strong sense of relief when you find one pad at the bottom of your bag when the period came unexpectedly. I'm sure it does make a difference and it does change their lives. I loved Mr. Titimba. You are the icon, really. The emphasis on boys. Your work itself, but also you as an individual, should be out there, and we all support your effort. I love what Dr. Ruth mentioned about this linkage to the private sectors, not necessarily from philanthropy, pure philanthropy, volunteerism, giving money. No, it's not just that. I can testify that 10, 15 years ago, I did work with the corporate social responsibility department of business companies. Now, I work more and more directly with human resources department because they are shifting their corporate strategy into human capital investment. And I trust that this topic of menstrual cycle and sanitary dignity will also shift in the coming years. It is difficult when there's social cultural norms involved, but we didn't have voting rights. We shifted with collective effort together. We trust, I do trust that all the learners, all the girls, boys, we can provide that equal opportunity that would really contribute to the human capital of South Africa and beyond. Every single one of us here, we were born from a mother who once was a girl. Because of that special ability as a girl to bear a child, why should they be penalized? Why should they be shamed? How do you actually build South Africa a tree of life if we continue doing so? We cannot. So UNICEF stands ready to continue working together with the government, together with the business partners, and with this closing remarks, thank you so very much and enjoy dinner.
All right, then your food is served on this side. You'll go through there, you dish up, you go outside, you refill your glasses. And Mnane Deputy Ministers, because I'm very important, I go that way. Thank you, good night.